Warning: this video contains spoilers for Wings of Fire: Legends, Dragonslayer. Please do not watch this video if you haven't read the new installment and don't want spoilers. Hi everyone! Welcome to my in-depth breakdown for Dragonslayer Part 4. What this really means is that we'll go over the prologue, epilogue, what the book did well and not so well, and the possibility for a sequel for Dragonslayer. If it's not too much trouble, please vote in the poll above for my next YouTube video, and on with the video, I guess. Prologue, Stone. Quite a few things have changed since I first broke down this prologue. Also, here's a fun fact. This is the first time we've ever seen the death of Queen Oasis, whose bones now belong to the Sands of Time. We've had first-hand accounts of what happened before and after the incident, but never an account of what happened during it. So, it starts in the year 4992 after Scorching, as those puny scavengers attack Queen Oasis's stronghold. Heath, Stone, and Rose had gone to the Sandling stronghold to steal some treasure. Well, Heath had sort of tricked Rose into coming, and Stone wasn't going to let them go alone without protection. Stone and Heath were waiting for Rose to emerge from the treasure room again when they have an argument about if this was exactly the wisest thing to do. Rose climbs out with more treasure sacks to add to the ones that she had brought on her first trip into the stronghold's treasure room. The trio is about to make off with the treasure when the shape of Queen Oasis, whose bones now belong to the Sands of Time, appears behind them. Queen Oasis is massive, even bigger than Morosphere, and is terrifying to those evil scavengers, and also many dragons, others, that too. Queen Oasis injures Rose, causing her brothers to think that she was dead, while in reality she had just received a foot injury and been knocked into a sand dune. In his rage, Stone stabs poor Queen Oasis in the eye, putting an end to the life of Queen Oasis of the Sandling tribe, whose bones now belong to the Sands of Time, who was, contrary to what Smolder would tell you, a pretty good queen. Meanwhile, Blister is using this particularly excellent distraction to steal the remainder of the Sandling treasure, and basically, she sent Oasis to her death. Heath picks up Oasis's tail barb, which he will later use to claim his position of Dragonslayer and ruler of Valor. At this point, the Sandlings in the palace have been woken by Oasis's screams of pain and fury, and are confusedly coming to see what has happened. Heath and Stone flee the scene, knowing they won't survive for a millisecond against another dragon. This experience would change both of them for life, making Heath a greedy, paranoid psychopath, while Stone would become a lonely, depressed, heartbroken old man. And that's the prologue. Now on to the epilogue. Epilogue, undauntable. This epilogue, though interesting, feels like it was just added in so that they could set up the idea for a sequel and was not very set up throughout the whole book. It was more just thrown in. Undauntable is looking out of the window of one of the indestructible city's tower to the river that Ren always followed when getting to and fro from the city. He mentions that it's only been 59 days since she left, meaning that Part 1 took place over 7 years, while Parts 2 and 3 combined took up only 50 days. He also mentioned that he was only allowed to watch the river if he wore a spiky suit of armor and helmet, which sounds a lot like the armor that the city's porcupine soldiers wore. I would guess it's a modified version, as he is the prince. He's summoned to his father's throne room, who tells him to sit, as one of the spies has collected some interesting information. It's a spy named Boar, who was in Valor during the events of Chapter 37, which I cover in my Part 3 breakdown. Boar tells him about how the Dragonslayer is no longer in control of Valor, and how he never slew Oasis in the first place. Then, Boar tells him about how Ren was riding on Sky, controlling a dragon, who happened to have weird orange scales. Undauntable realizes that the spy is talking about Ren, and so does his father, who asks where he got the scales. Undauntable, in a failed attempt to protect Ren, lies and says that he got them from an old woman in the market. The Invincible Lord, however, is no fool, and is not tricked by Undauntable, and says, in classic bad guy fashion, "I will control the girl who controls dragons, and then the whole world would be mine as last." This ends the second installment of Wings of Fire Legends, but maybe hinting at a third, but we'll get to that later. Here's what the book did well and not so well. Number 1. It had everything that the fans want. Action, comedy, conspiracy, awesome references, and it really makes it feel like we're back in Pyreo where it all began, and seeing what happened in the Poison Jungle and what Tui has said where it may all end. First, the action. I believe that this book has some amazing action sequences, especially considering that it was written from the perspective of scavengers, which cannot be easy. I will say that the fight with Oasis could have been more prolonged, but that wouldn't exactly fit with the overall Wings of Fire timeline. Anyway, according to Smolder's letter at the end of Winter Turning, a full-grown human is about the forearm length of a middle-aged dragon, and dragons keep growing until death, unlike humans, so this comparison isn't exactly accurate. Knowing this, it must be hard to write a scene that we've seen before, but in the perspective of creatures many times smaller than the original scene's POV. The action scenes as a whole were a bit overkill, but overkill turned to work out in the book's favor, at least this time. Next up, comedy. This book is super funny, with all sorts of jokes, funny scenes, and a particular song about dragons that will be loved for the rest of time, which is the second canonical in-universe song to ever appear in Wings of Fire, the first being the Pyrean bar song, The Dragonettes Are Coming, and it would be considered third if you count Prince Cliff's We the Dragons of the Sky. Oh, dragons are totally stupid, and dragons are really bad. The way they keep eating our goats, it makes me so terribly mad. Whenever I see a dragon, I want to shout, "Go away!" But since I'm polite and I never start fights, I just hide for the rest of our day. Not liking this song is a crime, almost as bad as not liking Murder Basket. And you're not a true fan if you don't love it with all of your being. I'm joking, by the way. Just so you know. So yeah, it was funny. Maybe the funniest in the series. Time for conspiracies. I absolutely loved the idea that the Weight Watchers had a conspiracy, and that they were planning to replace a corrupt leader. It made for a much more interesting book, and raised the stakes much higher when the false Dragonslayer arrested nearly all of them for conspiring to murder him. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's only one conspiracy. I don't know if this is considered a conspiracy officially, but I say the Dragon Mancer thing with the fourth member, all the dead apprentices, and the treasure smuggling thing was definitely what I would call a conspiracy. I mean, don't you think it's a conspiracy? Anyway, I thought it was weird that the Weight Watcher conspiracy was only constantly mentioned, but not any sort of Dragonslayer one. I mean Dragon Mancer. References. This book has tons and tons of these neat little Easter egg type things, from the feast scene and the Dragonette prophecy to Fluffy and Hollow from The Brightest Night. However, they go way too far when saying that the Dragonette's Arena song reminded Leaf of how Ren would always fight for what she cared about. Leaf does not understand dragon, and he never will, ever. Though this line was just not good at all. The rest of the references were great, like the Dragonets playing as Ren and Sky watched, and Scarlet and Sunny being held in Burn's stronghold. I would have loved the finale scene from The Brightest Night, though. So those are my thoughts, and let me hear yours in the comments below. Finally, what we've all been wanting to hear, Wings of Fire, Legends Dragonslayer may have a sequel in the works. Tui has teased at multiple possible upcoming Legends novels, including a sequel to Dragonslayer. The epilogue's ending has certainly teased at this, so we may eventually get a book that has the Invincible Lord as a prominent antagonist. Maybe we could even have Jade Mountain Academy or the Battle for Jade Mountain or other later major pirate events from a scavenger's point of view. That said, this may be unlikely, as Tui has teased at the Scorching being the topic for the next Legends book, although none of this is confirmed. But that's the fun in speculation. The whole point is to take hints of something and hope that it amounts into something bigger, is it not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to vote in the poll for the topic of my next video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Wings of Fire videos, and I'll see you in the next video.